This is the first SD card that I ever owned. Yes, you read it right, it was 32 megabytes and it came pre-bundled with my Nokia 6600. I was a little kid, it was my dad's phone. 32 megs of SD card was a lot back in that day. But how does it compare to what you can buy very easily these days, which is a 32 gigabyte card that I have here, which I'm currently recording this camera footage on as well. I'll be looking at the speed at which the data can be copied, whether the data is lost over the period of time, like 15 years or so, and I'll also be looking at whether this card works with my DSLR in 2022, which is a Lumix G7. Before we jump into benchmarks and stuff, let me show you the data on the card itself. So the data on this card is at least 15 years old. It's from 2007, and as far as I'm concerned, everything is intact, including the MP3 and WAV files back then, as well as some photos and videos. By the way, this SD card was designed for 480p videos and photos. Remember 3GP? That's what it was designed for, and now we live in the MP4/H.265 era, highly compressed 4K footage. Plugging it in, and it works. It says Nokia 6600. And it seems to have all the data from back in the day. Check it out. 2004. All these files were made in 2007. Look at that. And they still work. I've tested it. I'm not going to show you because they're personal photos, but it's there. You can format it. But quick format complete. I'm gonna take some footage from OBS. It's a 28 megabyte file. Not bad. It's copying at about 1.3, 1.4 megabyte per second. That's crazy fast for 15 years ago. Think of it like this way. In 15 to 20 seconds, you can fill up your SD card completely. Look at that, it's completely full. It has maybe 2 megs left for a few photos back in the day. Now, I'll also test this SD card after installing it on my DSLR and see if it can take a picture at this kind of write rate. I'm hoping it will, but we'll check it out. So that's the speed. Now let's look at a modern SD card and how fast it is copying the same file. Alright, I'm gonna unplug this. I have a 32 GB SanDisk Extreme Pro, 95 megabytes per second card here. Plugging it in. Oh, it's pretty much empty. I'm gonna drop the same file there. 3, 2, 1. It took 0 seconds, basically. 28 megabytes, easy does it. So yeah, not only have we maximized the capacity of the SD card since, 2007 and 8, but the speed at which they operate, without changing the form factor much. It's like a millimeter, maybe a couple of millimeters thicker than the original MMC, but it can still copy a hell of a lot more data in a few seconds. To see the actual speed, I'm gonna drop a slightly larger file on it. There's a gigabyte. Yeah. As you can see, it's copying it at about 75 megabytes a second. It has settled down around that, which is not bad for an SD card. It is faster than some of the flash drives I've used in the past. Alright, time for the DSLR test and then the conclusion. Alright guys, I have my Panasonic G7. You can see there is no SD card, no memory card. And I'm gonna take my 32 megabyte card, which is not formatted yet. Check this out. And I'm gonna pop it in like so. This memory card cannot be used. Yep, it just got banned hammered. Yeah, you can't use a 32 megabyte card in DSLR, unfortunately. Although you can install some sort of a Linux OS. Maybe it's small enough and you can boot off of it, but yeah. Here's the SD card itself. This is how it looks. And there you have it. The 32 megabyte SD card still works, and it's just a millimeter or so thinner than our 32 gigabytes card, which is 1,000 times more data. Just imagine that. It's crazy. And in a span of 15 years. So maybe in another 15 years we'll have a 32 terabyte card. We're not that far because we already got a 2 terabyte SD card, or even a micro SD card, which is the size of your thumbnail. Not the YouTube thumbnail, your actual thumbnail. Will I use it in my daily workflow? Most likely not. But it's good to have it and know that it still works, and the SD card standards have come a long way without changing much in the form factor as well as the pinout. Now obviously the 32 megabyte SD card is a few years old and it has a little bit less pins, so I think 3 pins less than what it has on the 32 gig card. But 3 pins more for 1,000 times more storage, I'll take it any day. And it probably costs less to buy a 32 gig card today compared to the 32 megabyte card back in the day. Alright guys, thanks for checking out this video. I thought it would be interesting for you guys to know the smallest SD card basically, which still tries to remain relevant in 2022. Anyway guys, let me know in the comments, what's the smallest SD card size you have ever used in your phone or your camera? Whatever. Let me know, and consider subscribing and dinging that notification bell just down there. And thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Cheers.